Alright guys, welcome to a monster review of a monster that I've been wanting to make a monster review on. He is one of the most interesting monsters I know because he's kind of like a dream monster for a lot of people, I think. He's a Pierce monster with positive effect removal, and he's got the classic case of, just a mechanic that people kind of thought we needed but just didn't work in execution. Because he relies a lot on Electrified, one of the new dots at the time. And it was kind of like the concept of Electrified is useless because you have to apply it before someone gets dodge area. And how are you going to apply Electrified in an AoE if dodge area means they're immune to AoEs? You need a Pierce monster. And here we actually have a monster who can do exactly that. But he never picked up steam despite being a Pierce attacker. And we're going to talk about why in my monster review of him today. So, Teddywave, the 998th monster. Funny that he got overshadowed by the 1000th monster, who was the most OP Pierce monster ever, really. Well, the most OP Pierce mythic monster ever. So, Teddywave is a Thunder Blossom Air monster. Teddywave was supposed to be a toy, but a mistake in the factory turned her into a powerful combatant instead. She's still cute, but she spends more time working with the space defenders than entertaining kids. Alright, just got a giant cannon in its mouth. Cannon Wave. Alright, deals heavy thunder damage to all enemies, applies shock and mega stun. Alright, an amazing Pierce finisher. You always love to see when they do denial in an AoE. No, an AoE denial plus damage with the Pierce mythic. Because, that's almost unstoppable. Then again, a lot of monsters are immune to stun, but the concept of the finisher still stands very powerful. It applies shock. So, all of these infinite extra turn monsters right now, he's an amazing counter to them. Because you do one AoE, boom, Omnia can't infinite extra turn. Boom, Shadonia can't infinite extra turn. Boom. There's more examples, but I can't think of them how many there are. So let's go over his trait now. At rank 0, you have his best evolving trait, Pierce. So it will pierce through defensive status effects, evasion, mirrors, shields, taunt, dodge area, anything. So there's no monster who's safe from him or his status effects or his positive effects. This guy is unstoppable really as an attacker, but the thing that kind of dooms him is his low damage output, so that doesn't really affect it. But he is a Pierce attacker, and you have to give him that. That is a very powerful mechanic that people are always looking for, and he's in the Thunder element. So maybe you rank him up, maybe you don't. I'll have to go through everything to tell you. Then we've got Immune to Blind. Alright, so this is exactly what it says, Immune to Blind. As I say, Blind is a mechanic that you see a lot in the beginner meta, and with people like Elvira Demon Slayer having team Immune to Blind, and people like Rarus and all of the deniers having some form of true vision, you never really notice Blind even when he gets applied. So it's kind of like a non-factor in anything, but to give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he gets hit with Blind by one of the many monsters who has access to it. It wouldn't land and it wouldn't affect his Pierce, and he would still be able to land all of his attacks. Then we've got Status Caster Shocked, which is like bonus amazing because on a Pierce monster, their Status Casters also carry over with Pierce, so they are AoE applied. This is basically the same thing as having the Thunder Beast. It is unavoidable shock on every monster. So this is an amazing mechanic. I love that. And now let's check out his skill set. So first, I will say, since his damage output was low even when he was released, like right now he's sitting at 10,000 strength, and right now the average would be 15,000 strength. So his damage output is abysmal. There's almost no shot to try and use him as an attacker. But at the end of the day, I think that's still the only thing that you're really going to get out of him. It really depends. So go to Mythic. There's a lot of Thunder Mythics in here. And Teddywave. This will help me decide if I'm going to rank him up, because, this is my first time seeing him as well as you guys. So let's go through it. Electron Net. Oh, hold on. Let me go to the bottom. Space Cyborg. Deals moderate thunder damage to one enemy, applies shock to one enemy. 0 cooldown, 25 stamina. It's honestly not the worst. That damage output is low, but it's not empty. And it's, it's your counter for if you get cooldown activated. So a decent attack with shock, spammable if you have the stamina for it. I gotta say I like it. But let's see if he has better. Defend the Galaxy. Deals a low thunder damage to one enemy, applies Electrified. Alright, basically the same mechanic as this, but for more stamina, less damage because the dot does more damage. But then again, shock is the more useful dot, even if you can apply electrified with pierce. For those of you guys who don't know what electrified is, deals 50% of thunder damage, so it's actually a very powerful dot. And it blocks the dodge area effect. So what that means is you can't apply the status caster. If you have the trait or you already have the status caster, there's nothing you can do about it. But it's more of a preemptive measure. Then you've got Stop the Threat, deals low special damage to all enemies, applies damage reduction. Kind of a soft denial attack. The damage is really low, but you apply damage reduction. I don't know. I'm really not a fan of damage reduction. I think there's no place for it in this game because it's really useless. 1 turn cooldown, 36 stamina. It would be easy to cycle, but literally this move is the exact same move, but with shock. All right. You've got Electron Net. They were really high on this whole Electrified thing. Deals low thunder damage and applies Electrified to all enemies at a much higher cooldown, at a much higher stamina. With a little bit more damage, definitely not worth it. All right, the Electrified dot is cool, but it's not that good. It's actually really hard to even use. Then you've got Protect Teddies. Deals low thunder damage to all enemies, applies shock to all enemies. 1 turn cooldown, 36 stamina. I think this is the move that you're going to get the most usability out of because shock denial and positive effect removal is really the biggest thing this monster has to offer. So I say you've got to utilize this move for sure. Yeah, honestly, it's his best skill. As I said, I've always wanted to see in a Pierce monster, but he kind of executes them poorly. Looks like his damage output is a lot better than I remembered, so I actually might have to start ranking up this monster. We'll see. So AoE shock with low thunder damage on a 1 turn cooldown, 36 stamina. This is just if you see an Omnia on the other team, you see a Sadonia, and you need to shut them down immediately. You just turn transfer to him, you make him go first. Maybe he's your fastest and he's just a cursor for your next attacker. I don't know. Let's look at the strategies. Definitely some usability right there. You definitely want to shock all the enemies. Sadly, he doesn't have any strong AoEs. He reminds me a lot of a monster that came out at the same time that I just did the review for, which is a Sparkus. So next we've got Aim to Neutralize, probably his strongest attack it seems, at 50 damage, deals heavy thunder damage to one enemy, removes positive status effects from one enemy. So I really like the removes positive status effects because even though this is your heaviest move, maybe you don't kill because he's a little bit old and his damage output really wasn't that high even for its own time. You remove the status effects, so if they had buffing, if they had healing, if they had anything, maybe you take that away, and maybe that's exactly what you needed to win. Maybe you do this move just for the cleanse and the shock, because let's say you have a Dark Voltaic. There's a move, actually, this monster just feels like the built-in counter for Dark Voltaic, and I'll go over it more. But yeah, this is the kind of move that you'll use on your Omnia to take care of all of her buffs. Let's say, talk about some dodge area attackers. I don't know, Graxshack? I really can't think of too many popular dodge area attackers right now. But this would do heavy, cleanse, and shock. But at the cost of all that, high stamina, 2 turn cooldown. Not the worst, not the best. Definitely run him with Archdruid Sigil, which is when you kill a monster, it resets the cooldown and gives you more stamina. So it works really well with monsters like this with high stamina and high cooldown. Invader Detected deals moderate special damage to one enemy, applies total damage reduction to this. I like this because this is the best kind of soft denial, where it actually total denies them. It doesn't go weak. On a 1 turn cooldown, 42 stamina. The stamina is pretty high, but for a cycle on a moderate, which is almost basically a heavy attack, I really like this. It's kind of like a soft denial. It's the same case with Sparkus that I did his review earlier today, but Sparkus doesn't have Pierce. He doesn't have Cold Blood, so he can't go past anything to apply this, or the shock for that matter. But this monster can. He can use his Pierce to apply shock, he can use his Pierce to apply total damage reduction, and he can use his Pierce to remove positive effects. So definitely a worth it move, because he can use it better. And then we got Electron Shock. Deals moderate damage to an enemy, alright. So almost heavy damage, just like this one. In fact, I think they're equal. Let me show you real quick. Yeah, they're the exact same amount of damage. So you can use either one in either situation, but this one is special damage and this one is thunder damage. So I like that. Different elements, I like the usability of that. And like the other skill, it's on a 1 turn cooldown, but even less stamina. So I like the low cooldown trend. So moderate thunder damage to one enemy, almost heavy, removes positive effect. All right. So this is for the effect of, they said, oh, well, you can't even apply it on a dodge area monster. And if you do manage to apply it, they'll still have the dodge area anyways. This is the complete counter. It should be called the dodge area killer, right? Because not only will it, like, let's use the most popular dodge area monster at the time, or a newer one, Shadonia. She has status caster dodge area, right? And that is really the only thing that you can counter with Electrified. You can't counter the trait, which is the actual deadly one. Let's say she has her status caster dodge area and you go first. Actually, she's a bad example because she can't reapply her dodge area, so you don't really need to block it. So Dark Voltaic. He is a absolutely deadly. I still use him in war still. Absolutely deadly, infinite extra turn, dodge area attacker. So basically, this guy's forte. So you go, you attack him, you remove positive effects, so you'll remove his dodge area. But instead of him going again and being able to just reapply it, you apply Electrified, which blocks dodge area. You see, it blocks the dodge area effect, so he won't be able to do anything. If he does do his infinite extra turns, he'll lose 45% of his health. And in that case, you can just do this, removes positive effects and applies shock. He won't be able to attack, and then by his next turn, you can apply Electron Shot. I really think this guy is just the counter for Dark Voltaic, but I really can't speak to him being any more than that. It's really hard for me to debate whether this guy is worth investing in, because he's got so many good mechanics to look forward to, like Pierce with positive effect removal, Shock, and Electrified, which are two mechanics that people always want to see. But then again, I feel like he just doesn't handle them well enough to justify ranking him up, because his damage output isn't very high, and it might seem like that's whatever. A lot of attackers are just used because their skills are good, but now it's really low. Like back in the day, you had Cherub Cupid, you had Serpentex, you weren't going to use them anyways. But now it's just so low that I can't see you using this guy at all. Maybe he's an amazing Thunder pick, but he definitely gets overshadowed. Why isn't he here? Oh, he's a Blossom Air monster. At least he's a Blossom Air monster. And tomorrow I'm definitely going to do my review on Enhanzor. Just doing tons of Thunder monsters right now. And for fun, I'm just going to throw in like any old mythic, but I'm going to make them Thunder. Voltaic Redeemed. No, that won't do. Actually, Voltaic Redeemed. Alright, and there's really not much to showcase in this guy. I want to use him in PvP just to showcase the bare minimum that he can do, but I don't have him ranked up because a lot of people aren't going to get him ranked up because he was hardly usable back in his day. But that just means even more than then, he's hardly usable now. So you really got to make the decision whether you think he's worth it or not. I'll list off his pros and cons and then end the video because I don't want to give him runes when I won't use them. He is a Pierce attacker. Bottom line, that is always going to be amazing. He's a Pierce attacker of the Thunder element, which is severely lacking in attackers and tanks, although it's been getting a lot better with Galvanus, Light Voltaic, Sparkus, and even more taunt monsters of the Thunder category. Honestly, it's not as barren as it used to be when Teddywave came out, so he's not even that much of a necessity comparatively. He does have the status caster Shocked, so you basically don't even need the Thunder Beast to counter Dark Voltaic, Omnia, and Shadonia. He has the the classic Pierce Shock to all on a low AoE. He has the positive effect removal Shock. So let's say you had evasion, you say you had immune to torture, let's say you had dodge area, you remove that, or let's say you're just Omnia with a lot of buffs, you remove that positive effects, and then you apply Shock with heavy damage. Moderate damage, you remove their positive effects, and then you apply Electrified. This is probably the best move to counter dodge area in the game. Very powerful. This will mean that your Dark Voltaic, until you get to like a Slumster, or I'm thinking very old right now, a Slumster or an Omnia or a Shadonia, unless you can cleanse it away, basically he's going to be out of commission. And Electrified is a very powerful dot along with decent damage. And then Invader detected. let's say you have someone like Nishant the Great or Lord Inheritor, whose biggest thing is just the massive raw damage output they're putting out there, or even Griffinna Ironwing. You can apply this total damage reduction, and it's like the closest you'll get to Pierce Denial, other than Cold Blood Denial, which is actually a lot more powerful, but still. You apply this, and they can't do any damage. It doesn't matter if they're Serpentech, it doesn't matter if they're Cherub Cupid, it doesn't matter if they're Griffinna Ironwing. No matter how dangerous they seem, if you give them total damage reduction, that's it. It's total damage reduction. They can't do any attacks. So maybe you run this. One thing I will say, if you wanted to run this guy as a cursor, there's kind of like an argument for it. You've got these low AoEs with shock and all this cleansing. You could do this AoE with Angelic Gauntlets to have Pierce total blind. But the thing is, even showing it himself, blind and stun are just the two most immune things in the game. So it's really hard to do. And the cons are obviously that his stats are not only like, bro, half. It's insane. Like, basically, they added half of his entire strength stat and like multiplied it by that. They basically cut his strength stat in half and then added a third exact sized one. Like, he is so outdated in the strength department, it's ridiculous. So that only the best monsters will survive. And not only that, but look at that. Not as if his damage output wasn't already low. This is his strongest AoE. This is his strongest single. It is just so abysmal that I really think you got to use him as a cursor or you've got no shot. Because he really just doesn't work if he's not as a cursor. And now that I think about it, he's not even a Doomsday monster, so he doesn't have access to really good relics either. His skill set really doesn't comprise of anything too impressive. In a Pierce attacker, you just want two things. Strong damage output and good dots. And that we have a lot of right now. We even have monsters who can specialize. Like with Serpentex with Abomination Hater, Grind with Mechanical Hater, and Alfira with massive damage plus 30% life removal. We've got a lot of options in all of these Pierce departments, and with this new era and all these super powerful stat monsters, we only the best will survive, really. And sadly, Teddy Bomb just doesn't fit that mold. Maybe 2 eras ago, you would have still been able to pull him off, but with the tense rank up survival dungeon situation where you can only rank up the absolute best monsters and there's no time for a monster that will come in handy but needs a lot of effort like this, yeah, it's just really hard to suggest. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Wait, hold on. Leave a like to support the video. It means a lot and it helps me a lot in the algorithm. And it just means a lot to me. Thank you all so much for watching this far into the video. Okay, sorry. I had to regather myself because I feel like I did that entirely wrong. Thank you all so much for watching the video this far. That's all the support I need. Please leave a like on the video if you want to support. No, that is so bad. All right, got to do this. Hydrophobic shield, got to do this. Please leave a like on the video. It supports my video in the algorithm and helps my channel grow. My next video is going to be another video on a monster that's basically just like him and just like Sparkus. It is going to be my, let's see, Enhanzor. Is that his name? No, I think it is. Enhanzor. Yeah, the Dark and Thunder Anticipation Monster. Alright, that's going to be my next video. Check out my collab with Abrigo. I spent a lot of time on that video, and I really enjoyed making it. I hope you guys enjoy watching it. Definitely go check it out. Please leave a comment. I will respond to your thoughts down below. How do you feel on him? I always thought he was just the most interesting monster ever to me, because really he should have been like super popular. He was what a lot of people were asking for, an electrified Pierce monster. He was positive effect removal Pierce monster. He had a lot of things in his arsenal that really should have clicked but just never did in the meta. So tell me your thoughts on him. I've always thought he's just a very interesting monster and a very interesting case of like how giving people exactly what they ask for is not always going to work out. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. that's about it for this video. Hope you have a great day. Hope you found this helpful. Hope to see you in the next one. Your favorite Omni-Crab signing out.